Hello all. Thanks for taking the time to join our webinar today on KTern, the best product for SAP S4HANA conversion. You will be kept on mute till the end of the webinar. So if you have any questions, kindly raise it through the questions tab. My name is KTern and I work as the portfolio manager for SAP S4HANA at KTech. Before we get to the webinar, I'd like to give a brief introduction about us and the speakers today. KTech is a pure-play SAP partner with 13 plus years of SAP expertise, and we have been involved in 1,500 plus SAP projects for more than 250 happy customers across the globe. Our clientele includes customers across US, UK, and Netherlands in the West, and across Qatar, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and Oman in the Middle East. Our speakers for the webinar today are Mr. Rajagopal and Ms. Vaidehi. Rajagopal is the SAP S4HANA Conversion Practice Head at KTech. With over 10 plus years of expertise, he has been involved in numerous SAP S4HANA projects across the globe. Vaidehi is primarily an SAP S4HANA solution architect who has over 25 plus years of expertise and is the product architect for KTern. KTern is the SAP S4HANA conversion product suite designed to automate and manage system conversions from start to finish. Developed in compliance with SAP Activate, the only proven methodology for SAP S4HANA conversions, KTern comprises of 12 modules which helps tackle the challenges in SAP S4HANA conversion. We'll explore the challenges and the KTern solutions for the same in this webinar. Now, without further ado, I hand over the webinar to Rajagopal.
Thank you, Ketan. Hello, everyone. Myself, Raj. So the SAP Activate methodology is a modular and agile framework for implementation or migration to SAP S4HANA and other solutions. The SAP Activate methodology supports project team in the deployment of SAP solutions in the cloud, on-premise, or hybrid environments. The SAP Activate methodology follows 6 phases to provide support throughout the project lifecycle of SAP solutions. Underlying these phases is a series of value delivery and quality checks reflected in the approach as quality gate checkpoints to make sure that the solution delivers the value you expect. So as well, the phases listed here are discover, prepare, explore, realize, deploy, and run. I'm going to highlight few challenges we faced during our conversion project. Of course, once I had a challenge with my taxi driver, who took a wrong route on an important day. So when I scheduled for a steering committee meet, but that's not in agenda today. So what we have here in agenda today is to focus on conversion challenges that any SAP partner would go through in delivering the value to their customers. We as SAP partner will go through series of tasks that would help accomplish the objective of each phases across the SAP S4HANA conversion process from ERP system. I have listed here the top 5 challenges that our conversion team had experienced during our previous projects. SAP S4HANA Readiness Assessment, effort estimation and resource mapping in the discover phase, custom code analysis and adoption in the explore phase, test and defect management in realize phase, data validation during the deploy phase. I thought it's better to run through you all with a use case with some data points from one of our conversion projects for a high-tech manufacturing industry to help us connect better with the challenges that I have talked about in the earlier slide. Customer had ERP as a core, SRM for supply chain, BPC for consolidation, and a couple of other interfaces like Salesforce, Kinaxis, etc. So this project that we executed in 2 phases. In phase 1, we converted their existing ERP system to SAP S/4HANA with lift and shift approach. Something like packers and movers come to your house, pack everything you have, then move it to your new house. While you're settling down in the new house, sort through your stuff and throw things which you don't need anymore. Meaning, we have made sure all business processes that are working well as it was in ERP after moving to S/4HANA. So then during the phase 2, business consolidation brought within S4, optimized by moving the functionalities within S4 itself, that saved a lot in terms of operations and of course commercial benefit as well. So right side, you can see the end state of what we have delivered. See, this customer was running applications in Windows with the Oracle database. Eventually, that's moved to SUSE Linux with the HANA database. The landscape had 2 sandbox, 1 dev, 2 QA systems, 1 production, and 1 production HA. See, initially, customers don't have a clue where to start with. So does SAP partners as well in few cases. So being a first timer, both customer and us, we had some estimate with reasonable assumptions as a system informations and thought it was it will be 20 to 30% efforts on top of the usual EHP upgrade projects. But when rubber hits the road, that's when we realized that we really underestimated the efforts. We like installing required SAP nodes in the system to run the readiness check reports, understanding the impact of live modules running in the current ERP system, SAP add-ons and third-party add-ons. So what happens to specific active business functions when we move to S4? So which skill sets we need to assemble for this project? Eventually, we have done the detailed impact analysis successfully, but we have invested considerable efforts into that. So this is our first challenge here. We had users of about 2000 plus using 2734 transactions, and we have executed 2800 test cases in all iterations we have done, and 115 end-to-end scenarios, 109 interfaces, 85 controls with 175 roles. 35 interfaces, including 3 banks, were connected with current ERP system. So we had faced huge challenge in test management, identifying the test scenarios in scope with 157 people involved totally for UAT alone. Again, we used different tools like Microsoft Project for project management, SharePoint for documentation, OneNote for meeting collaboration, HP ALM for testing. So managing the project and tracking the timeline, collaborating the documents and activities was also a major challenge here. So we have done 6 iterations before we touch the production. Please, you can imagine the efforts gone into collaborating within the project team members, custom IT team, and business key users to keep them all in one page throughout the project duration. So next challenge we have faced with respect to customization they had in the ECC system. Customer had almost 2000 plus custom objects, and impacted custom object was around 400. We need to remediate all the 400 Z objects to make it work as it was in ERP. So we had real challenge in identifying those 400 impacted custom objects and fixing those to adapt to S/4HANA framework. So next, the biggest challenge is to validate the migrated data from ECC to S4. So how to make sure the accuracy of the data which got migrated? So in traditional methods, technical people run few BAPIs in source system and target system, consolidate that in an Excel sheet with VLOOKUP macros in Excel. So validation took weeks for a sample of data sets. Imagine if you want to do that for 100% of data, that too with customer DB size of 1.9 TB, it could have taken months. So I see a risk here of prolonged downtime and uncertainty of the overall process with human errors and insufficient business knowledge. So this is a summary of all challenges I have talked about. Over to you, Vaidehi. Trust you will make my life easy going forward. Vaidehi, over to you.
Thanks, Raj. Thanks for giving us a detail on the challenges that you've faced in your earlier customers. Before I get started on how we address these challenges, I would like to get a quick poll organized. And the question that I have for you is, how many SAP S4 HANA projects has your company completed? This question is for the partners. So if you can take a quick minute and answer the poll, and then we can move forward. Okay, I'll close the poll now, and then I'll continue. So Raj brought to light the challenges and hurdles that ECC customers should expect when they embark on a conversion journey. Now let me try to explain how we can work around these and how effectively we can take these challenges head on and deliver a successful on-time conversion projects. In a nutshell, the 5 challenges that he talked about is how you do the assessment part. The second one being on the collaboration and the timeline adherence, the testing issues that you would face and how you handle defects, the accuracy of converted data, and custom code analysis and adaptation. One more question before we move forward here. The question reads, do you think SAP S4 HANA conversion projects are complex? Majority of you, 87% of you said that they are complex, and that gives us more meat into the discussion here, where we can go about to understand why it is complex. And I think Raj explained why it is complex, and so now I'll go about to explain how we can remove these complexities. There are definitely tools and accelerators which address one or more of these challenges. But before we get there, let's first understand that S4 conversion is not just an upgrade of an existing application, but it is just a conversion of the entire application gets changed from ECC to S4. And you have a new data structure, program, front end, and this is very different from ECC. And in the use case that Raj explained, of course, they had the best of breed tools, but there was not one single tool that could do it all. And when you have to jump between tools and applications to get a single point of truth for reporting, it becomes really difficult. And to follow up on these tasks becomes very, very massive for the project manager and also for from the customer side when they want to keep track on what is happening. What we have here is KTern, which is one comprehensive product that addresses most of these challenges. And in the next 20 minutes, I will go into depth and to help you understand how the product addresses each of these. The first challenge that Raj brought about was the assessment. Insufficient assessment or insufficient understanding of where we are before we get into a project is the biggest hurdle. And here the stumbling block is the unknown. KTern offers the assessment program for customers who are contemplating an S4 transition. The application connects remotely to a copy of the production system and gathers all the relevant data that is required to find out the complexity of the conversion and where you would get affected, what are the business processes that are going to get affected, and how you should go about testing, and so on. This assessment provides a technical and functional impact analysis and covers multiple areas. The first one being the simplification items. So when you move from ECC to S4, all of us know a number of areas have been simplified, but not all of them affect every customer. So you need to know what really bothers you. And some of these are given by SAP's readiness check, but KTern goes at least 3 levels deeper to give you a complete understanding with explanation, with statistics, with analytics to help you understand where you are. The second one is the custom object analytics. Over the years, you would have accumulated a lot of custom objects. And on an average, about 30 to 50% of the custom objects never get used. So then you would need to know on which set of custom objects that you should put your effort into. And if you're about to clean up every single one that you're not going to use, the testing involved, everything becomes complex. So KTern gives you a complete detail of the custom objects, including the number, under which custom class they fall under, which functional area, and so on. The business function analytics, depending on which are the business functions that have been activated. The add-on analytics, so if you have SAP add-ons or third-party add-ons, and let's assume a case you've embarked on a project without finding out if the vendor from whom you had purchased the third-party add-on has his product ready, then you are in deep trouble because you would not know how to proceed, and that particular functionality would not be available in S4. The business process analytics, which gives you an idea on the kind of business processes that run. The BW or extractor relevancy checks, because most ECC customers also have a BW by side. And then you would have to ensure that all the extractors that you currently are using in your ECC system are available for you to work on the S4 scenario as well. The next one is the transport request analytics. You would need to understand what is the change that is coming into your system on an average, on a weekly basis, or into your production, or on a monthly basis. The reason you would need to know this is you would need a change freeze at the beginning of this conversion, a soft freeze, and then further on into the project, a hard freeze. So to be able to identify all this ahead, we would generally, KTern gives you this understanding on the number of transport requests and changes that happen on the system. And then the user profiling. KTern looks at the users, the kind of profiles they have, the licenses, their usage. And so when you are getting into this discussion with SAP on getting your ECC licenses converted to S4, you already have a good handle on what is being used currently and what can be optimized. And the smaller the database, it's easier to convert, and it's easier for you to maintain it post-conversion as well. So, KTern provides you a number of housekeeping tests, housekeeping advisory, archiving recommendations on what are the cleanups that you can do ahead of time before you start the conversion. The next one being the Fiori app recommendation. There are at least 10,000 plus Fiori apps that are available in S4. Obviously, all of them don't relate to you. Let's say even 20% relates to you. You would need to know of the 20%, where do you start? Do you start role-wise? Do you start Fiori app-wise? So, and what are the Fiori apps that would give you the biggest buck for the money? So this recommendation report provides you that complete detail on how you go about this Fiori app implementation. The next one is the sizing. So if you're already on HANA, or if you're already on a non-HANA database, then you would need to know what is your target sizing that should be. be it on the cloud or be it on premise. So, and those projections are given as well. The next two areas are very key. The first one being the test cases. So if you are a customer, if you have a customer who already has a very clean test lab and the test cases, then the problem is less. But if this is going to be a customer who does not have details of the test cases, then the KTern provides you a complete test case recommendation based on the usage of the system. And it also provides which are the users that would be more the business users who should be involved in the testing as well, because you would want their buy-in and you would want to include them in your UAT test as well. Then the training scenario recommendations. So there is a change for the users, even if it's a lift and shift model, there are certain things that change. And then you have transactions that you're going to prioritize. So these users will have to be trained. So by looking at the usage of the system over the last 3 months or the 6 months, typically KTern works on a copy of the production data, gets all this information and provides you a comprehensive report with which you can take it to the management. And this is more like a business case based on which you can get an approval. In addition to all this, you also get a L1 project plan and timeline for the S4 conversion. And this project plan includes the resources the project would need from the customer's IT and the business as well. And this is very critical for the customers because they would need to know how involved their business will have to be during this project cycle. And trust me, these projects run anywhere between 5 to 8 months. And during what stages in the project do you need the business involvement? So this assessment is typically taken up by customers who are thinking about an S4 conversion, but they're yet to go for the budget. And then once with this business case, they can go forward to their business, get an approval so they can move forward. So once this is done, this provides you a lot of headway into the project itself. So you know what you're getting into. And with this information gathered, the KTern provides you a landscape and deployment recommendation and how you go about to do the dual development, how your cutover is going to be done, what are the interfaces that you have connected to your system, how it's going to perform post S4 conversion, what is the testing, and also the training details. And then, so once you've begun your journey and you've done the assessment, you already know the assets of the customer. So you don't spend the first 2 months trying to figure out what this ECC system has in store for you. So once you have all this detail, it becomes a lot easier. And let's assume post this assessment, you have stepped into the project. And once you have stepped into the project is the collaboration and the timeline adherence that Raj mentioned. So why is it so critical? Because these projects are, any project for that matter, will have to fall into a certain timeline. And unless you do that successfully within that particular time period, you're in trouble. Primarily, you already have a decent timeline that has been estimated very close from the assessment phase. And the findings of the assessment phase are automatically incorporated into this module. And more so, the capability to plan the project with auto simulation of activities and the ability to track these milestones gives you an edge. The base project plan that KTern provides you when you sign up for the project management module is which the partner can use as a starter set, and all the findings of the assessment are brought in as well. And he can further customize it to suit his requirement. The maintenance of structured and organized management of files and documents across each task in the project helps in documenting the process, and this can be fine-tuned as we go through multiple iterations. I cannot stress the benefits of documenting such complex projects. The key is the documentation is being available for each mock run, and even before you start the next mock run, the next activity, and you're no longer people dependent because you have the complete process documented. You know what was run in the previous run, you know how long it took, and you know what to expect. And trust me, you find this all in a central place rather than jumping between tools where in one place you maintain the project, in the other place you maintain your task list. And in the third place, you maintain all this documentation. And activity collaboration also stands out as a key feature here, where all stakeholder decisions and touch points are clearly listed in one central location. Why this is important is maybe after you've finished your development and QA run, you want to come back and think why you made a particular decision. So instead of tracking through your email or minutes of the meeting, you already have that documented across that task, along with the signatures of people who were involved in this discussion in making a particular decision. Like whether you decided to refresh, why you decided to refresh, when you decided to refresh, and why you decided to go one way rather than the other. This module is definitely on par, if not better than other project management tools. But the biggest asset that I see here, it has a flavor of SAP and conversion as well. This makes sure that the consultants who do the project, the customer's SME, and also the business users are able to relate to it because it's very SAP-centric and more conversion-centric. So it's very intuitive for a person who uses this product, and he's able to, and it leads you along the way. The next major challenge that we discussed was the testing issue, the issues that come during the testing and the defect handling. The testing is a very collaborative effort between the partner consultants, the IT SMEs, and the business users, and also SAP in many cases if we start to raise messages with SAP for issues that cannot be fixed by us. The testing module of KTern has a lot to offer. And also it's very complex because the testing happens at multiple times across multiple instances, and you have different testing itself, the IT testing, the integration, the UAT, the performance testing, and each one happens against a different set of systems. But in most cases, if you see, the test scenarios are the same that you want to test repeatedly. KTern automatically identifies test cases for pre-configured test scenarios by looking at the usage of the system. So once you start configuring the system, it remotely connects to your system, identifies the usage, and then it's able to come up with the test scenarios and the related test cases. And these scenarios are populated into a folder called the test lab. And this test lab is a master set of all the test scenarios and test cases that you're going to test. And it also has the ability where you can add your own test cases as well. And once it's all in one place, the testing manager is able to assign these to testers and manage and track the progress of the testing. The highlight that I have seen in KTern is the automated test execution and the ability to capture the results and defects in the auto testing console. So you have an auto testing console where certain transactions can be automatically tested. It logs into the SAP system, tests it, documents what you whether it's a success or a failure, and gives you back the result. And in the event of a defect, it creates a defect for you. So most of the work is pre-done for you. Obviously, this cannot be done for entire set of transactions, and there is a certain percentage that will have to be done manually as well. And once you have a defect, these defects will have to be managed. And the defect management is very key because you have fixed timelines to complete each of these testing phases, and you would have a go or a no-go decision after each testing. So you would have to have 80% of the test cases covered, and you want a 95% success on each of these. So to track these defects across the entire life cycle of the defect, KTern provides you this ability. And it also suggests solutions from KTern's S4 HANApedia. What this S4 HANApedia primarily is an entire knowledge database of all the possible defects that could come in an S4 conversion and the possible suggestions that could apply to you. It might not pinpoint you to the exact solution, but it will definitely get you close, and the consultants are able to resolve those issues much faster than they would if they have to go and do the analysis themselves. This knowledge base has been built over the multiple conversions that we have done and the knowledge that we have acquired in the last couple of years. And the same set of features that defect management provides can also be used for the issue management. What I define as an issue is primarily the issues that come during the execution of a conversion. And defects are something that come during an execution of a testing. So let's assume I'm running the SUM tool and I'm getting a dump or whatever. So then I raise an issue, and then the fix could be I have to apply a patch to the SUM tool. So that's an issue. But again, the issues are also very relevant, and you need to track these issues very effectively, because for the next iteration, this automatically becomes a task in the next iteration where it says, okay, in your sandbox, you had this particular issue, so I'm including a change to the task list for you to add this particular fix ahead of time before you start the development conversion. So primarily for a successful conversion, if you have tested end to end, and if the testing is extensive, then the go live is smooth. Also, being able to repeat these test cases after each mock run is very effective, and it's made much easier by the testing module. And also, you could use this test lab as your final repository that you could use further in your package as well. So after you have completed your S4, maybe 6 months down the line, you would want to have the next patch, or you want to go to the next level of S4. You already have all this built in, and this is available to you for use during further conversions. So moving on to data validation. The need for data validation primarily exists because you've converted the underlying data structure, and then you've actually transported the data from ECC data structure to S4. KTern has this data validation suite that does this data validation automatically and gives you the confidence that all your data has been converted and is available in the S4 instance. As this is automated, we can rest assured about the accuracy of the testing. And those of you who have been through a production cutover will know that time is of the essence in that window. So, and if you are going to try to do this data validation manually across master tables, transaction tables, across thousands and 10,000s of tables, then this is going to be very time consuming, and this is definitely prone to errors. What KTern does is it goes via the business process layer, compares the data, and gives you only information if it is not accurate, if there is some error in the validation. That way you're able to zero in on the effort and fix it in a matter of hours, rather than running this data validation itself for many days. Now, the most daunting task for the conversion is the custom code analysis. So why is this very important? Over many years, all of us have accumulated a lot of custom code, be it tables, programs, function modules, transactions, whatever be it. And these all refer to the ECC data structure. And now you need all of them to work with the S4 data structure. Obviously, they will not work as is, so mediation will have to happen. But are you going to go and fix every single code? Would you not want to know what needs to be fixed? And what if the whole thing can be done automatically? So this is a very important thing, because of most customers don't use all of their custom code. So KTern addresses this in two phases. The first one being in the assessment phase itself. Like I said, it gives you a complete dump on what is there and what is being used. So once you have that, and you have the time between the completion of the assessment and start of the project, you have the time where you can go about and clean house. So you decide, okay, this is the set of custom code that is supporting all these business processes, and this is what I'm going to put my effort into. So I'm going to remove all my unused custom code. So that's the first one. And the second phase is where the custom code remediation wizard identifies the parts of the code in each program and provides the required change on the screen. So now you have the screen split into two parts. So this is similar to, for those of you who know the ABAP screens, where you do a version comparison. So what you would see on the KTern screen is, on the left you see your original SAP code, and on the right you see the suggestions made by KTern. And then you decide to keep the change, and or you say, okay, no, I think a small change has to be made to what is being suggested. And about 60% of the code can be remediated this way. And for the remaining 60, and once you accept the change, it automatically saves the program and pushes it back into SAP. And then, and this is generally done only once, maybe in the sandbox or the development system. After that, you've captured all this in transport requests, and that's what moves forward. Let's assume there is certain custom code that that cannot be done manually, that cannot be done automatically. It could happen because of the complexity of the custom code. In those cases, what happens is it provides you the option to manually correct it and then push the code back into the SAP instance. Either way, you have now consolidated all the custom code, you have remediated it, and then this is it's saved it into a transport request that can be used over again in the further systems in the landscape. And when you do this, you would realize that, for one, because it's driven by the product, it's less error prone, and also that it is much faster, and you don't depend on people to do this. And the tool has the experience, KTern has the intelligence to be able to suggest those changes and move forward. So this definitely would save you a lot of effort and resource and time in terms of remediating the custom code, and the errors that come as an after you have done this is also much lesser. We have tried this in a couple of test cases, and we have found that as it's done by KTern, it is less error prone. So once that has been done, so I think to a fair extent I have covered all the challenges that Raj mentioned, and KTern addresses all of them. And the best part of it is you find all of this available in one single interface, so you don't have to hop around tools. And this becomes a comprehensive product which tackles all the activities of an S4 conversion. It adheres to SAP's methodology, and it does it in a very structured manner in one single portal. And also the people involved in the conversion, all the stakeholders, be it the partners, be it the consultants, IT SMEs, the business, the customer, all of them get their perspective because it's based on user roles. Then each one gets his perspective. So he logs into the project management module, he sees what he has to do on that day, what is pending. You have workflows, and you're able to drive the project very seamlessly, and you're able to complete it within a given time. Okay, that's the screen on the custom code which I talked about. And so it does the automatic analysis, automatic recommendation, and then automated custom code. So these are all the modules that I explained. I think possibly a couple of ones that we didn't go through in this discussion, which we can do in demos to each of you when we meet with you. So this is a comprehensive solution that we have for the challenges that you would face during an S4 conversion. So thanks everyone. And before we go on to questions, I have one last question, which reads, would you like to partner with us for KTern or for SAP S4HANA conversions? If so, please do get in touch with us. And then once you've answered this, we will definitely open the floor for questions. Thanks for answering those questions, and now we'll open the floor for questions. We have one question here on how KTern is deployed and the deployment options. We have multiple deployment options available on-premise, on the cloud, and depending on the options that you choose, you could get connected. KTern would connect to your SAP instance, and we'd be able to move forward. There's another question on the licensing of the tool. We can work with you on the licensing options depending on your particular use case. The next question I have is, if we partner with you for KTern, would you support us in the conversion, at least for 1 or 2? Definitely, we would do that, because it would be a joint effort. Once we partner with you, it's success that both of us want. So we would work with you with the product and the conversion to make this happen. The next question I have is, can we extend this tool to S4HANA Cloud as well? Yes, this tool can be used for any S4 project to talk about. So the modules have been very clearly demarcated. And for example, the test management or the project management or the data validation, you would need data validation when you're moving from ECC to S4 Cloud as well. And you would need all these modules, irrespective of whether it's a conversion project, kind of conversion, or a hybrid conversion, or even an implementation project. So yes, this tool can be used for any of those scenarios. The next question I have is, can we also perform conversion from ECC 4.7 to S4 using KTern? See, SAP gives those guidelines. You can convert. The only requirement to convert to S4 is that you be on a unicoded system. And KTern supports the conversion process. We are not trying to replace SAP's tools. This supports the conversion in the various areas. So yes, KTern will support the conversion irrespective of the source release and the target release if SAP allows those permissible releases. The next question is, this tool is different than Solution Manager. Yes, I'm not talking about Solution Manager. Yes, Solution Manager does offer some of these functionalities. And this tool is completely different from Solution Manager. It has been built, this product has been built by us and is available for use for S4 conversions and other S4 projects as well. The next question I have is, does this tool help in reducing downtime? Yes, it does help in reducing downtime because the approach is so structured. You have it all documented. You have your cutover tasks documented. You have your documentation, everything in place. And the repeatability of using KTern for each of your iteration or iterations automatically reduces the downtime. And the assessment does a very good analysis of the system. So you are not in for surprises, and over the iterations, it will definitely reduce the business downtime. Yeah, the next one is, I have many of you asking if you would get some free trial versions. Yes, we will make that available, and we'll also make available demo for each of you based on your interest. I think those were the last set of questions, and I thank each one of you for attending the webinar, and I hope that you will get in touch with us and work with us, and we can make this make conversions much simpler and easier moving forward. Thank you, and have a good day.